Hey sports fans, in yet another epic collapse by the Thunder, I decided to target the fourth quarter of this game, and especially the last 7.5 minutes where OKC surrendered a 16-point lead in stunning fashion. And let's make no mistake about it, the Clippers looked terrible, as if they were playing their fourth road game in 5 nights, and the Thunder were embarrassing them. So naturally, it was curious that Doc Rivers opened the fourth with a lineup that, over the course of the season, has a net rating of -7.4. That said, this weird lineup has played the fourth most minutes of any 5-man lineup for the Clippers, but it's just not clear why Doc would turn to it to dig them out of a terrible hole against a top team. And it didn't start out well, when they couldn't muster any kind of attack and got a stagnant ISO by Crawford on KD. And it's also weird to think that with this lineup, putting Austin Rivers on Durant was their first choice, yet it was. And look at that, a terrible pass by Foy gets stolen on the heads-up play by Rivers, and on this interesting attempt at an inside-hand layup, Foy saves the day by rejecting it outright. After some worrisome ball handling out there, Rivers gets the ball out top for a simple ball screen by Aldridge. Complete confusion by the defense. They were worried that Cantor was on Crawford, but the real concern needed to be the ball. On the switch back, no one is there to help Waiters, and Rivers gets a nice driving layup. On the next possession, Singler allows middle penetration, and you have to watch what Cantor does on this. He simply forgets that he's playing defense. No recognition of anything, and it's an easy pass for a layup. Down by 13, the Clippers have Prigioni pinned down and watch him slip. West passes too early or else he would have had a wide open layup to him. Singler, I believe, is supposed to deny Crawford from using the screen to the middle of the floor. He can't do it, so KD now has to switch. He does a great job until Crawford goes behind his back. Now, KD's feet get twisted around, and watch Cantor. He should have stepped up a little bit to help contest this shot. He wouldn't have blocked it. This is a finger roll from the dotted line, but it would have brought him up near the front of the rim, which would have enabled him to easily get this rebound instead of allowing Crawford an easy tip. Remember, Chris Paul is still resting on the bench as the lead dwindles. OKC gets the right play call to attack Austin Rivers with KD, but Cantor doesn't get there quick enough. KD doesn't wait for him to get lower for the screen, but no matter, a simple 2-dribble ISO enables him to shoot right over the much smaller Rivers. Finally, the Clippers get Wes Johnson onto KD, and the stagnant offense allows Aldridge to shadow at the right block, and they even get a deflection. Foy starts dancing with it, wanting to drive, but Cantor is posting right in front of him, nowhere to go. Now the clock is down to 5 seconds, and Russ is forced to burp up this shot. I often think that Austin Rivers tries to do too much, and by that I mean tries to make moves he's not good enough to make. Here's a good example. Not too much headway had been made ultimately before Chris Paul checks into the game. The Clippers are still down 16 with 8 minutes to go. They run a clever Princeton-ish set. Watch how Rivers coming around gives Paul a chance to fake the handoff, getting him right into the lane. Foy is late bumping down, and Aldridge finishes nicely. Next time down, their old staple high horns to spread the floor for CP3. Russ trails CP3 while Cantor is pressuring from the front. This means Waiters needed to rotate over on the roll man. He gets out of the way. Worried about Austin Rivers in the corner, a player who's shooting less than 30% from 3. The Thunder run high horns now and gets an instant switch and a serious mismatch. But look how stagnant this is. There's nowhere for Russ to attack to the hoop with Cantor on the block and Waiters in the corner and no movement at all on the weak side. This ends up being a good look, but Russ can't hit it. Still up 14, look how slow they are getting into an offense. They're again playing not to lose. I like the inside ball screen for Russ, but he gets caught up in desperately trying to put CP3 in jail on his back and ends up jumping into him to initiate the contact. The refs aren't going to give a call like that to him, even if CP3 gets away with the old veteran trick of tapping him in the ribs. Then he makes matters worse by committing a loose ball foul. Still up 14, KD wants to take matters into his own hands, without any side-to-side movement, right into the teeth of a set defense. And this crossover is poorly executed. Wes Johnson cold rips him, and while the pass by CP3 was off target, it actually helps them as Wes grabs it and jumps all in one motion, catching Durant by surprise for the and one. The lead is now 12. And you can just see that OKC's offense works one step at a time, rarely more than two players moving at once. I like the dribble pitch out of the corner, just not for Randy Foye. But they force a closeout for Russ, the pass is too high, and Russ can't attack on the catch. The clock is ticking, and mind you, KD and Waiters have been standing in place almost the whole possession, allowing the defense to form a wall. Russ makes a poor decision to drive anyway, and then the footwork. Jumping off the left foot, drifting to his right, and a double pump finger roll with the left hand from 6 feet away. On this possession, I like the initial defense to contest the Redick 3 off the pin down. So far, so good. And long rebounds happen, nothing OKC can do about that. But watch this. Ibaka inexplicably starts to run to CP3 when his man is fading wide open for a corner 3. That said, it should be on the point guard, the captain, Russell Westbrook, to get everybody talking. I've got CP3, you've got Wes, but nothing is said, and Wes rises up and splashes the wide open 3, and now the Thunder have problems. Now that Wes is starting to feel comfortable having gotten a couple of wide open 3s off of defensive breakdowns, the inevitable happens. Ibaka needs to bump down on the roll man, which he does, but then needs to close out on the 3 ball, which he does okay, but it's too late. They've let Wes Johnson get into big head mode. More bad decisions by Russ. They run high horns again, and there is no way he should ever be throwing this lob with 2 guys surrounding Adams. While it leads to an open Ibaka jumper, the whole possession was thrown off kilter. And to make matters worse, Russ doesn't sprint back. And if you look how this possession unfolds, Waiters has Redick, Foye is on Crawford. Clearly, Ibaka needs to take DeAndre. So that leaves Russ to sprint and pick up Wes Johnson. But they escape with the in and out. Now here's a real offensive set the Thunder ran down the stretch. Pistol. But it's run way too high at a bad angle. Durant should be catching this ball closer to the lane line and to the three-point line. Now when he turns the corner, Redick can completely ignore Robertson, and KG dribbles the ball off his foot. At this point, this kind of stuff drives a coach crazy. KD grabs the ball and stands there for 4 seconds. Credit to Robertson for trying to set a hammer screen for Russ, but it allows Redick to stay in the lane to deflect this pass. The pass should have gone to Russ in the right corner. The clock winds down and Robertson unsurprisingly bricks this. But what is surprising is that DeAndre Jordan tries to save this. It makes no sense. But just when I was recovering from my confusion, KD just drops the ball off to Jamal Crawford. Perfect finish to protect the ball with his body, and it's a 6-point game. Let's flash back to the Warriors game when Russ made a foolish attempt at a lob in a critical moment of the game when it was just too risky. Well, clearly the Thunder didn't watch my breakdown because it's a somewhat similar situation here, and Russ does the exact same thing, but the pass is even worse, and a terrible turnover. But Ballmer is getting excited. In a game where every second is critical, it's a mistake for Russ to allow CP3 to roll the ball up the court. Now the Clippers run multiple pin downs off DeAndre, and the second one catches Durant with more bad footwork. Unclear why he runs at him to the right like this, allowing middle penetration. This forces Adams to step up, and on the air ball, Jordan cleans up. Off the out of bounds, they break into the vaunted Durant-Adams pick and roll, and while it gets a decent look, KD can't hit it. But this is where it got funky. Adams does a nice job to track down the long rebound, but with a 4-point lead late in the game and the whole shot clock to work with, why, oh why, would Durant ever pull on a catch-and-shoot contested 3 here? This leads to a foul on the Thunder, and the Clippers have plenty of time to attack. I like how the Clippers run horns and put Redick at the foul line, and this is interesting. The Thunder have Robertson pick up CP3 in the switch, with Russ taking Redick. I actually like this, except for the part where Robertson is a beat late and Chris Paul knows exactly what to do with this much daylight. Notice the off-foot layup to get it off in time. Mercifully, the Thunder break into the Russ KD pick and pop, And while this is good defense by Johnson, it's better offense by Durant. The Clippers run horns again with Redick at the elbow, and this time they contain it a lot better. But I'm not sure there's anything you can do with a lob like this. Perhaps Adams was trying to take the foul and put Jordan on the line, but it backfired as DeAndre one-hands this thing beautifully, and he steps up and calmly nails the free throw too. Again, execution is a problem. The reason you screen for Durant first is to get his man out of position for the pick and roll, but KD doesn't set his man up, nor get low enough to start, and this screen is ineffective. The Clips switch this, and you gotta love Chris Paul's fight. He's a foot shorter than KD, but still tries to fight for position. The spacing and alignment is way off here, and while 8 times out of 10 this is an easy pass, West jumps Westbrook when he picks up his dribble. While KD slides over to the left side is beyond me. Even if Wes Johnson didn't deflect this pass, Redick was right there to do it. And all was not lost, as Russ tracks it down, but then displays some awful footwork to step out of bounds. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. More horns. This time the Thunder execute the Robertson switch to perfection. I really like that rotation. Having contained it, the Thunder now have to deal with a step-up screen by Jordan for Paul. Nice crossover to force the switch, which not only gives a mismatch out top, but also with Robertson guarding Jordan. And just look at this absolutely incredible tip and one by DeAndre. Just a huge play with lots of skill and fingertip control needed. Down 2, the Thunder still have this play from the Brooks days. A fake ball screen on one side into a skip for a ball screen on the other. Durant gets a step, but watch him hesitate for a split second before elevating. No rhythm, and he bricks the shot. Again, the Clippers line up in horns, but CP3 opts to go with the wing entry series instead, and this gets Crawford an ISO on the wing. One of the great things about Jamal is that he can do stuff like this. Crazy great defense by Foy, but somehow Crawford was even better, and now the Clippers are up by 3. Reeling from a 24-4 run, Donovan opts to call his last timeout. It's never a good idea to call your last one with more than one possession left, and you may ask yourself, why on God's green earth did they need to call a timeout if all they were going to do was have KD stand around for a bit before just putting his head down and driving? He chokes the first free throw, and now it's a 3-point game with the Thunder getting last outs. Clippers run the exact same play. This time, Crawford opts for the contested 20-footer, and then all hell breaks loose. Russ gets the rebound, remember, no timeouts, and certainly they want to get a 3-point shot. Considering who was open for a pass with time left out on top, it would seem that forcing a running 3-pointer while hoping maybe someone fouls you is not the way to go about this. In fact, it's just plain dumb. The shot misses badly, and the game ends when the Clippers hit their free throws. So there you have it, sports fans. I recommend you check out the podcast from today to hear more thoughts about the Thunder from me and NBA.com and NBA TV's Sekou Smith. The bottom line, this OKC team doesn't have the foundation to compete at a championship level. We've seen time and again that their talent overwhelms the lesser teams, but not the well-coached ones. Check out the ratings against the top teams compared to everyone else. It's a clear pattern that echoes everything we've said here, and it starts with Westbrook running the point guard position. If something isn't learned or changed soon, this team could very well be watching the conference finals from the comfort of their own homes.